From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, petrol scarcity spreads to states as commuters lament transport fare. NIMET warns of more flooding as Makurdi flood victims recount tales of horrific experiences. 450 Nigerians, others receive national honors in Abuja. And on the foreign scene, Ghanaian president critical of countries in the West for low funding to climate change initiatives. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. We begin today with the lingering fuel crisis as motorists at filling stations in Kaduna metropolis are lamenting the hardship they are going through before purchasing fuel due to long queues. Now, the scarcity of petroleum products has also led to an increase in transport fare in Kaduna. The report.
Long queues resurface at filling stations within the Kaduna metropolis as many stations remain closed due to the unavailability of the product. Motorists are not finding it easy to buy fuel as they spend hours in queues.
Yes, I've been on this queue for about 1.5 hours. What I learned was that they could not be able to bring fuel to the north here because of the road that is bad around the Lokoja side to Abuja, then towards this side.
I've been in this queue for almost 3 hours now. I left my home early in the morning and see the queue is just going slowly. We don't even know what is happening inside the filling station because I'm yet to arrive. And all I can see that a lot of cars are also behind me and in front of me as well.
It's not easy, but there's nothing we can do but just to pray. As scarcity takes its toll on transport fares in Kaduna, motorists fear that it will also affect their personal incomes as well.
You check this thing now from today, now being Tuesday, to the next 2 weeks coming. How do you think the situation will be? Somebody, they are paying how much where you are working and you pay for your children, checked everything at the end of the month. You see, the salary is gone. So we are praying, let the government know what they will do about all these things. It's not impressed. You go to the market, everything increases.
In fact, people are really suffering because when there is fuel scarcity, we see that there will be queue and there will not be enough vehicle to take the passengers to their destinations. So people suffered and the transportation increased.
It has actually affected our life simply because we just have to bear it, whether we like it or not. Prices of goods will skyrocket, prices of everything will go on simply because we depend on the petroleum. That's what we use in our daily activities.
They also call on the government to expedite action on the Lokoja road that disrupted the transportation of the product to the north due to flood.
Well, I want the government to do something about the road, especially that along Lokoja, Cotton Cafe to Abuja, because the road actually, when there is a lot of flood, yes, definitely there will be obstruction and vehicles will not be able to move as it is supposed to.
Effort to speak to petrol stations owners yielded no result as they declined comments on the fuel scarcity. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
And as queues in filling stations across the Federal Capital Territory linger, motorists have been having a hard time balancing the long man hours spent looking for the product and meeting with other activities. In this report, Kabir Lawal looks at the situation within the capital city and tells us how car owners have been coping.
Petroleum products, especially premium motor spirit popularly known as fuel, have been scarce in the city, making people pass nights at stations in order to get the product. Some respondents expressed displeasure with the scarcity of the commodity, which they said has made life difficult.
Actually, the issue of this fuel scarcity is not easy for us.
Why do you say that?
Yeah, because what I observe is the issue is because of the Kogi, the flood at Kogi. I think that should be the reason of this fuel scarcity. We are not finding it easy to get fuel. You wake up early in the morning, struggle to get fuel. As you can see, since morning, I'm here looking for fuel.
What time? 6, 7?
6? No, I've been here for around 4 a.m. to 5 up to now. I didn't get fuel. I walk around anywhere I enter, any filling station. the crowd is too much.
Customer no dey like before. As they increase the fuel and the money, dey for the people where they enter the motor. As they enter the motor, they complain about the increase the fuel, increase the price of the motor, so like that.
Black marketers are cashing in on the situation to make bricks business as they sell out exorbitant prices to those who are not patient enough to wait.
We buy the fuel at 3,000 naira at the filling stations and sell it at 6,500, making our gains. It is not our fault. We are calling on the federal government to make things easy, because economically things have gone up, prices for food, and also people have been trekking to different destinations because they don't have enough money to complete their transport fares.
Residents within the city are calling on the government to, as a matter of urgency, address the issue and ease the stress involved in buying the product. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now to environmental matters. The Nigeria Meteorological Agency, NIMET, and the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency say there is a likelihood of more states experiencing floods in the coming days, especially in the north central, southeast and southwest. Director General NIMET, Mansour Umar Tazu, and the Director General of the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, NISA, Clement Nze, gave the indication at the opening ceremony of the workshop on hydrometeorological status and outlook system. The NIMET DG said in the coming days there would be high-intensity rains, adding that with the dams being let open, there will be more floods. He further noted that water-associated risks are going to intensify in the coming years as the full weight of climate change begins to bear on the earth. The DG of NISA said the flood that happened was primarily caused by rainfall and not the released dams, noting that the floods became inevitable due to building on floodplains as well as the rise in water levels in the River Niger and Benue. Meanwhile, thousands of flood victims in Adamawa have described the blockage of River Benue as one of the major factors leading to the flooding across the affected areas. To this end, they are calling for the dredging of the river to reduce the annual loss of lives, farm produce and property. Salis Lawan has the report.
At least 500 people have been rendered homeless as a result of the heavy downpour that lasted for about 5 hours last week Thursday in Nasarawa Demsa, part of Demsa local government area. Victims of the flood who lost all their farm produce and other properties worth millions of naira call on government and non-governmental organizations to assist them with relief materials to cushion the effect of the flood.
Since 1989, we didn't experience the present situation we are in now. And to me, 2022 is the worst I have ever witnessed, because in this heavy rainfall that lasted for about 5 hours, we lost almost everything. We are appealing to government to intervene by dredging the River Benue, because by only dredging the river, people of Nasarawa Demsa and many other areas affected by floods will be protected by the yearly disaster.
We lost almost everything. Our farms' produce have drained. Our houses have submerged. We are helpless.
During a visit to commiserate with the victims over the unfortunate incident, the paramount ruler of Demsa, Glaston Alhamdu Teneke, urged the governments and individuals to assist the victims to start a new life.
This flood has been a yearly disaster. If it is a natural disaster, my people in one way or the other will contribute. We must start taking environmental precautions very serious, because it will help in reducing the disaster.
Many victims of the Nasarawa Demsa flood, like many others affected as the result of the 2022 flood disaster, are now taking refuge in neighboring communities or with relatives and friends, while others are in temporary settlements. From Yola, Salis Lawan, Trust TV News.
And the flood crisis in some parts of the world, including Nigeria this season, has come with tales of horror as recounted by victims in Makurdi, Benue State. Trust TV reporter visited some of the affected areas for an update.
This is one of the areas where the water has taken over households and school premises, submerging the entire community. Popularly called Angwanjukun, the victims were notified of flooding this year, but could not relocate due to some personal reasons.
Water they come, we don't even know, we don't inside they sleep. Now the water enter inside. As we wake up in the morning, we just took leg for water. Before we pack everything, my water don't pack some go. Food, our clothes, water pack and go. Now we run, go meet our sisters.
And do a very big drainage around this place, around this Angwanjukun. At least when the flood is coming, at least the flood will be controllable. But now the thing is just coming anyhow. There is no big drainage.
While the water is receding, incidences of snakes roaming the area have been reported, a situation that is causing apprehension amongst people living in the community. What is more worrisome is that the water that flooded the area, which is also contaminated, is what people are using for their daily needs.
The day first the snake enter my toilet, my local toilet, that women are using. Thank God, as my brother go, he went the toilet with torchlight, and they saw the snake and killed the snake. So I don't talk of others. The sockaway enter water, using all the water plot, and then we don't get any water. We don't get pump here. The water we they drink and bath, wash clothes, everything are from that water.
Water to take will also is contaminated. So we need tap water if possible. And also a clinic that we can rush quickly. Government should at least help us with a clinic within the community.
According to the victims, they are not planning to relocate to higher lands. They are waiting for the water to recede so that they can gather the pieces of their lives and move on.
You know, an African man, when you say do this, he felt you're trying to cheat him. So when somebody builds and spends his money here, you say you should vacate. Will you have another building for him? You don't have anything to do. So in order to leave this place, say, well, if you have money, give me, I will leave and build another one. But you don't have what to support. And you're telling me to leave this place, where will I go? So he has no option than to stay there.
The flood has displaced over 100,000 persons in Benue State in 11 local government areas, with about 12,000 households destroyed and a number of deaths recorded, according to statistics retrieved from the State Emergency Management Agency.
Meanwhile, the Chairman Flood Committee in Ogbaru local government area of Anambra State, Chief Ugochukwu Nwasike, has disclosed that residents still trapped in the flooded communities are refusing to be lifted to the internally displaced camps provided across the state. Nwasike noted that the attitude is hampering smooth rescue operations around the flooded communities. He stated this on Tuesday in a telephone conversation and also lamented that even though the flood waters had reached the rooftops of the buildings, the residents were turning down evacuation measures on flimsy reasons. And still on the issue of flooding, the flood in Yenagoa local government area of Bayelsa State has swept away a 16-year-old boy into a deep canal in the community. It was gathered that the 16-year-old, who was with his friends, went swimming in the rising waters near the State Ecumenical Center at Igbogene, but was overpowered by the surging water and thrown into the canal. Sources revealed that the body of the boy is still missing 2 days after the incident. Now to matters of security, where terrorists holding the 2 daughters and 1 domestic staff of the immediate past Accountant General of Zamfara State, Abubakar Bala Furfuri, have threatened to turn them into criminals who will be used to attract other targets for their criminal activities if their parents fail to pay the ransom they demanded. The terrorist message was contained in a 2-minute 39-second video released on Monday morning. The children, Zuleihat and Zainab, and an unnamed domestic staff have spent 128 days in captivity, having been abducted in June. In the video clip, the three ladies were seen clutching anti-aircraft guns, AK-47s, light machine guns and other firearms. The terrorists threatened to use the three ladies to increase the number of their fighters or as new targets if ransom is not paid. Meanwhile, peace is gradually returning to some communities which had been devastated by terrorist attacks in the past, with hundreds of people who had earlier fled or had been displaced making their way back to their ancestral homes. Some of these communities in Kurfi and Safana local governments are enjoying a breath of fresh air, going about their daily routine without fear of any terrorist attacks. Abdullahi Yamati visited Wurma in Kurfi and Zakka in Safana local government areas of Katsina State, where they, until recently, were under siege for about 3 years. The report.
These villages suffered unprecedented terrorist attacks in the past, with a large number of residents killed and displaced, while their properties worth huge sums of money destroyed. Hospitals, schools, local courtrooms and security outposts closed for over 3 years, forcing many children out of school. Health, agricultural activities and other social amenities suffered damage, with many impoverished residents traumatized. Wurma village has never witnessed any calamity like that bandits' invasion. They abducted over 50 people, including women and children. Halfway on Birchi Zakar Road is Wurma village of Kurfi local government, with a population of over 10,000 people. On Friday afternoon, people from Wurma and neighboring communities converged here for prayers as well as other economic and social activities. Now, this village is very peaceful, with many who fled to Katsina, Kano and other safer places coming back. We thank God for his blessings. With the Friday prayers over, Trust Television met the village head of Wurma at his residence, where special prayers were offered for peace and tranquility to continue to reign. I can still remember the very day over 300 terrorists invaded this village. They went house to house in search of animals, money and other valuables. When they came to my house, they asked me to follow them to their den, and I did. But with God's intervention, after walking for over 15 kilometers, they asked me to come back, considering my age and health condition. With the presence of local vigilantes and heavy armed security operatives keeping vigil, the villagers are celebrating 7 to 8 months without any terrorist attack recorded around their community. They are confident that if this trend continues, social and economic activities of this village and many other farming communities will come back to life, thereby allowing schools and hospitals to operate without fear of any attack. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
President Muhammadu Buhari has commended recipients of the 2022 National Awards for distinguishing themselves in the service of the nation and humanity, stressing that citizens who contribute to national development deserve to be encouraged and appreciated. The president spoke on Tuesday when he conferred awards on 443 Nigerians and 7 foreign nationals at the International Conference Center, Abuja. Kehinde Amodu reports.
The awards are in 10 categories and have been conferred on Supreme Court justices, judges, top lawyers, incumbent and former governors, ministers, traditional rulers, creative artists, politicians, businessmen, athletes, security officers who died in the line of duty, and other distinguished Nigerians. A total of 6 persons were conferred with the GCON. 55 received the Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic CFR, 65 got the Commander of the Order of the Niger CON, while 77 were presented with the Officer of the Order of the Federal Republic, OFR. In addition to this, 110 persons received the Officer of the Order of the Niger OON, 74 were presented with a Member of the Order of the Federal Republic MFR, and 55 received Member of the Order of the Niger MON. There were four recipients each for the Federal Republic Medal 1 and Federal Republic Medal 2 second class. The 7 foreigners honored received the OFR award. The President noted that screening and selection of nominees followed established broad criteria and restated the commitment of the federal government under his watch to root out all forms of banditry criminality, terrorism, and insurgency in the land.
It is worthy of note that nation building involves a lot of sacrifice by the citizenry. Citizens who contribute to national development deserve to be encouraged and appreciated. The national honors are not merely decorative. They remind us of an important part of our responsibility as citizens.
Speaking on behalf of the awardees, the Senate President thanked the President for the honor, pledging that the award was an encouragement to do more work and a call to duty to serve Nigeria with renewed strength, loyalty, and honesty.
Call to service for all of us, awardees. This is a call to duty and an invitation to realize that citizens' efforts will not be in vain. We are therefore inspired, motivated, and admonished to keep up our input as stakeholders in the building of a virile nation.
At the end of the day, the President has special words of commendation for the National Awards Committee, headed by the highly revered Justice Sidi Bagé Mohammed I, a retired Justice of the Supreme Court, and the Emir of Lafia for diligently sieving through over 5,000 submissions and coming up with the recommendations. From the International Conference Center, Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
Stay with us on Trust TV News Hour. Still ahead. Mining gold at an early age. Details of this and more after the break. You stay with us.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Hour. Now let's recap our top stories. Petrol scarcity spreads to states as commuters lament transport fare. And NIMET warns of more flooding as Makurdi flood victims recount tales of horrific experiences. And moving on to other news on the flood issue, Ganaja village located in Lokoja, Kogi State is a town overrun by the flood. Many businesses have been submerged, forcing residents to think outside the box and maintain business as usual. Chamun Dabeng reports.
For many seeking to reach their destinations within Ganaja village in Kogi State, the use of the commercial boats are the only means of getting across the expanse of water. What used to be a town is now a deep-running river that can't be crossed by even the strongest of swimmers.
They say that to every problem, there is a solution. Many of the indigents have seized the opportunity and have started a boat service moving locals of Ganaja village from one area to another. For the larger boats with the engines, the charge is 100 naira per head and they maneuver through some of the deeper waters, while the canoes, which are pushed by oars, charge 50 naira per head and they move through some of the shallower waters.
I'm going to Ganaja village, but that's not my destination. I'm still going far. I have to take a canoe to cross so that I can get the next vehicle going to where I'm going to. I've been applying it for like a week now, a week plus.
I use it every day. Going to work or coming back from work every day. I'm charged 100 naira. To and fro is 200.
Even before this water is here, we have been operating from Ganaja to Shintaku for like 10 to 15 or so with a speedboat. Though due to what happened to this place, that is why we decided to bring the boats here so that we'll be assisting people to that end there. So sometimes we get like 8 to 10,000, depending on how you do the work. Even me, my house is inside water, so we are like just like, you know, the flood has packed the whole place. We have no option than to come here and look for what we chop.
This is the alternative to doing nothing. Residents of Ganaja village have been inspired to think fast and use their survival instincts to eke out a living.
Besides the boat service, several other businesses have popped up along the road leading into Ganaja village. To my left, you have POS services. To my right, someone selling food and drinks. And we also have keke that have been running across the streets. And not only that, even fishes sourced right out of the flood.
I'm living in Ganaja village, so my shade is there. But due to the flood, I now moved to this place. Honestly, I can't say that I'm happy being here, but at least managing is better than sitting. But honestly, the business now is somehow moving, but this flood is seriously disturbing us now. We got this fish through fishermen.
In the midst of what can only be described as a tragedy, necessity has become the mother of innovation. With many unable to carry out their regular businesses in their regular locations, the indigents have now resorted to alternative means and alternative locations in order to fetch their daily bread. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Kogi State.
Now, the inauguration of the APC Women Presidential Campaign Committee, led by First Lady Aisha Buhari on Monday, opened a new dimension of campaigns for the 2023 elections. Speaking at the inauguration at the banquet hall of the Presidential Villa Abuja, First Lady Aisha Buhari demanded for a pact to be signed between women and the party. The pact will guarantee greater participation of women in government if the APC wins the next elections. Agreeing about the impact of women in elections, President Buhari urged the APC to make inroads into the voting population of women and youth, considering their numbers in the 2015 and 2019 elections. Kehinde Amodu reports.
President Buhari is represented at this event by his Chief of Staff, Professor Ibrahim Gambari. He's warning against the temptation of turning the campaign into an Abuja-centric activity and is advising that a connection must be established between the voting public, the party's presidential candidate, and other candidates for offices throughout Nigeria. Considering the strategic role women have played in APC victories, he's urging the committee to once again organize and mobilize the electorate at all levels for an APC victory at the 2023 polls.
In the 2015 general elections, about 3.6 million housewives voted in the presidential election, and this figure ranked the third next to about 4.4 million students. In the 2019 general elections, women accounted for 47%, almost 40 million of the 84 million registered voters throughout the nation. We must continuously court and build significant inroads into this demographic and voting segment.
The APC presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu, while speaking, added that his coming was to break the chains of poverty, ignorance, destitution and failure and bring success to all Nigerians.
You are following the man who knows the way. Tell them you are following a builder. Tell them.
The First Lady, Aisha Buhari, is optimistic about the victory of the APC in 2023, but is concerned about the progressive decline in the involvement and participation of women in elective and appointive positions at all three tiers of government.
Our clamor and cries over the years has remained unattended to, especially at the level of legislative arms of government. For this reason, our movement has no option but to ask the party leadership to sign a compact with Nigerian women.
With approximately 137 days before the presidential and National Assembly elections, the ruling party is hoping to replicate the success of the 2015 elections, in which about 3.6 million housewives voted in the presidential election, and the 2019 elections, in which about 4.4 million students cast their votes. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
And to education now, where as part of efforts to improve the educational system of Almajiri schools in Bauchi State, about 500 Almajiri students have benefited from the BIK Foundation Summer School across the 20 local government areas of the state. The foundation says the program is designed to give the children hope for a better tomorrow after graduation from the school. Trust TV's Adam Imam completes the report.
The Almajiri in northern Nigeria has over the years suffered neglect in terms of education from their parents or imams that take them in. Hence, most of them end up roaming the street and begging for alms. This narrative is, however, changing for these 500 who graduated from the Almajiri Summer School and now have a reason to smile as they learn how to read and write courtesy of BIK Foundation in Bauchi State.
I learned a lot from this. I learned a lot from
Some of the trainers who took the young Almajiris for English, arithmetics, and social behavior told Trust TV that the main objective is to change the current narratives on Almajiri's education system.
It's very good to mainstream both Islamic education with the Western education so that they can be more productive members of the society. Basically, the program was carried out in 5 different centers, and the beneficiaries were about 500 Almajiris, of course, girls inclusive, and the impact was mind-blowing.
To give hope for the underserved about education, that everybody deserves education and everybody can get it, and not only government can provide it. In some in the countries that have advanced, it's not only government that is providing education.
The foundation says the Almajiri's children were selected from different Sangaya schools within communities and train, noting that with the cooperation of their parents, the program is achievable.
How we toil to be able to achieve what we have become today with the help of our parents and with the help of strangers. When we were growing up, the society was cohesive. Every senior was your uncle and was in a position to correct you. And then as we were growing up, we noticed that the society was fragmented because of so many pressures in the society, and it now helps us to do the little that we can.
Bauchi State Commissioner for Education Ali Usman Tilde commended the foundation and called for the inclusion of Islamic education and theology into the formal education system in Nigeria. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Mental health workers have called on the Nigerian government to accord priority to mental health services in the country. The experts who made the call also urged other relevant stakeholders to engage in awareness campaigns on the dangers of the illness. Ado Musa completes the story.
The expert made the call on Monday during this year's World Mental Health Service with the theme Make Healthcare Service Well-being Global Priority, held in Jos University Teaching Hospital, Lamingo. According to the expert, there are many causes of mental health illness, such as worrying over trivial issues, childhood experience, poverty, relationship problem, among others. The expert further explained that such illness could be controlled if properly handled, adding that every human being is at risk of developing mental problem because it is a brain-related illness, and until something is done about it, people will continue to develop it. Some of the experts at the event speak about the challenges and way forward in the mental health service delivery.
Mental health can be given priority just as our own thing, because we realize that priority, especially in Western culture, is being given mental health given low priority, and in fact, the finances sent to what we call out-of-pocket management, which actually will not go anywhere. This is somebody that has an illness, and this illness has the ability to impair the person's functional capacity in terms of his self-care, his occupation, his relationship. And of course, they face a lot of discrimination, job loss, and other. Yet, the treatment are not available. Treatment are scarce. In fact, studies have shown that in developing countries, only 1 or 2 out of 10 people really get access to quality mental treatment.
Patients, especially when it comes to finances, like the drugs, even hospital bill, we have a lot of problem in that. And you find out that in the society we find ourselves now, a lot of children are into drug abuse. So we have that challenges on how to help these children, to help them so that they can abstain from substance abuse.
These patients are not welcomed because they are being stigmatized in their families. They are not really welcomed in the society. So if there are housing projects that the government can help these patients with, so that they will stay and have a good life.
Experts believe that mental health related problems could be overcome if adequate priority is given to it by all and sundry. Ado Musa, Trust TV News.
And still talking health, the Oyo State government, through its primary healthcare board, has disclosed plans to embark on an integrated measles campaign for children between the ages of 9 months to 5 years. The Executive Secretary of the State Primary Healthcare Board, Muhyiddin Babatunde, who disclosed this at a media parley in Ibadan, noted that the vaccination exercise, which will cut across all 33 local government areas in the state, will commence from the 20th of October. Babatunde, who was represented by the Director of Public Health of the board, Johnson Osoko, explained that the exercise will integrate other vaccines apart from measles, like polio, vitamin A supplements, among others, and assured that the vaccines were completely safe.
They cannot be overemphasized. The media will help us in informing people and educating them appropriately, and that will go a long way to generate demand for healthcare services. Immunization is one of those essential healthcare services, particularly when it is community-based mass intervention like this integrated measles campaign that we are planning to do. I'd like to encourage us to do all that is needful in passing down technical information that would rather boost people's interest in immunization. I'd like us to play down as much as possible rumors, myths, confounded information that may come against the success of this program.
So let all parents be rest assured that they are not taking any risk in giving their children this vaccination. It is what they have taken before. We are just boosting their immunity by administering them.
So we are all going to go out together, and we are for 6 days. There will be mop up, 2 days mop up. We are starting on the 20th, and we have 2 streams in Oyo State. Because Oyo State is big, we have 33 local government, and we feel we won't be able to, we cannot monitor all at the same time. So they are divided into 2. We have 17 LGAs for and 16 LGAs, the second stream.
Now, children who are supposed to be in school are part of the army of artisan miners excavating gold in Shiroro local government area of Niger State. Many of these children are found in mining sites alongside their mothers in a bid to contribute to the upkeep of their families instead of becoming burdens to their parents who are peasant farmers. Gaza Yakubu, who was at the mining sites, completes the story.
The government of Niger State has initially suspended activities of mines in the affected areas, but without an alternative source of income, artisan miners have disregarded the order and have continued with their mining activities. Konapi is a local community in Shiroro local government area affected by banditry. There are children among the artisan miners in the community. I do not have any other job than mining. You can see some of my children at the mining site. I was able to get married with this job. All my children are part of the job. Some have left. The controller, Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment, Inwa Yakubu, says a template has been submitted to the state government which will address the problem of child labor. But the proposal is waiting for implementation.
The state action plan has been validated. What remains now is for Niger State government to kind of domesticate it, to adopt it, so that all what is in the act or what is in the state action plan can be fully implemented. The strategies are there. The lead departments that are supposed to drive it are there.
While responding to the issues, Chairman Miners Association of Nigeria, Muhammad Mambo, said efforts are being put in place to discourage the presence of children at the mining sites.
The more you have more laborers or more children in the stream, the more you get, according to their own assertion. So you can interview some parents where they will tell you, no, their children will not go to school. If they go to school, who will feed them? If they're in the stream, they will do this. These are the areas we concentrated on, and with the help of this ASEL project, things have taken shape within those communities, and we hope to do more. And the lectures still continue.
Some parents are, however, worried that the search for gold is changing the way of life of their children as they no longer go to the farm but the mining site. Gaza Yakubu, Trust TV News, Mina.
And caregivers have been charged to prioritize the rights of girls to enable them achieve their full potential. Parents in the FCT gave the charge at an event to commemorate the 2022 International Day of the Girl Child in Abuja. The report.
International Day of the Girl Child is marked on the 11th October every year. The day focuses on problems and challenges faced by girls, which are an impediment to their well-being and achieving a better quality of life. In Abuja, secondary school girls held a debate that emphasized the significance of the roles the girl child plays, not just in their respective homes, but in the nation at large.
Well, from my own point of view, the government should improve in the standard of education. Presently, they may say that most girls are the ones in school now, but we still have those who hawk on the street, like I said earlier. So government should find a way, empower them, so that they'll be more useful to themselves and the society. Because them being idle is a nuisance. And that's how you get armed robbery, and that's how they get kidnapped.
Should be empowered. The government should work hand in hand with the NGOs, because, I mean, the environment is there, but women are still scared because of the men. They make the women scared and all that. And we should also know that we are change drivers. We can't advocate for change if we don't start change ourselves. So I feel the government should start the movement of change.
Parents pledged to make the girl child feel carried along and not feel inferior in the contributions to nation building.
The importance of the International Day for the Girl Child is to recognize the importance of the girl child in society. We find out that most times girls are marginalized, women are marginalized, and this day was marked 10 years ago to simply reinstate the importance of what it is for a girl child to be educated, what it is for a girl child to be empowered, what it is for a girl child to be contributors to society.
I think the most important thing is girls need to be empowered from the start. So from a young age, you need to be empowered and you need to know your worth. And then you will grow up with a feeling of knowing your worth, and you will not be intimidated by anybody because you know your value, you know what you can do, and nobody will be able to intimidate you or scare you.
The theme for the 2022 edition is Our Time is Now, Our Rights, Our Future, even as the UN calls for support for the leadership of adolescent girls at the forefront of change efforts by hearing their voices, responding to their asks, and nurturing spaces for their inclusion in decision-making.
Still watching Trust TV News Hour. The news continues shortly. Stay with us.
That's great. It's good to see you.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Hour. Now, despite the surge seen at global airports during the summer peak period, passenger traffic demand is still behind the pre-pandemic target by 26.3%. The International Air Transport Association, IATA, in its latest passenger data survey, showed that the total traffic in August 2022, measured in revenue passenger kilometer, or RPKS, was up 67.7% compared to August 2021. Globally, traffic is now at 73.7% of pre-crisis levels. International traffic rose 115.6% versus August 2021, with airlines in Asia delivering the strongest year-over-year growth rates. August 2022 international RPKS reached 67.4% of August 2019 levels. And now for a look at the foreign scene, where Ghana's president and chairman of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, Nana Akufo-Addo, has criticized Western nations for their low financial commitment to addressing issues caused by climate change on the continent. Akufo-Addo, who was on a 6-day visit to France, where he is expected to meet President Emmanuel Macron, was referring to commitments made during a climate summit in Rotterdam last September. The Rotterdam summit was set up to discuss climate change financing for Africa and took place ahead of the 27th annual summit of the United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP27, to be held this November in Egypt. It also came on the heels of a warning from the UN Climate Science Panel that extreme weather and rising seas are hitting faster than expected, prompting calls for more money and political will to help people adapt. And in sports, Nigeria's under-17 women's team lost their first match against Germany at the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup taking place in India. Nigeria scored first in the 30th minute from Miracle Usani to end the first half. But Germany scored 2 goals in the second half from Stolt and Mara Alba in the 49th minute and the 61st minute to seal the win. And Adamawa State has hosted the 2022 National Polo Championships in Yola 3 years after COVID-19 brought a halt to public gatherings. The championship attracted several players who participated in the tournament. The report.
Polo game played on horseback between 2 teams of 4 players each uses mallets with long flexible handles to drive a wooden ball down a grass field and between 2 goal posts. It is the oldest of equestrian sports. This year's polo events brought in several dignitaries, among them are the Lamidon Adamawa, Dr. Aliyu Barkindo, Ganwari Ganye, and several prominent players and government officials. Abdurrahman Bashir of Haske and Williams at the 2022 polo tournament is happy with this year's playoffs as his team is among the winners.
You've seen today we've played better today. We keep growing as a team. We started playing from 0 to 2 goals, from -2 to -2 cups. We've been playing the 6 goal. Today we are playing the 12 goals. So we keep growing every day, but I see us playing maybe the biggest cups in Nigeria, the Lagos Open, Majek, Georgian in the future, maybe a year or 2 from now, when we have a better and stronger team and also better mounts.
Other players also expressed excitement, hoping that it will be better in the coming years.
Spectacular, because I didn't expect to win. I mean, I'm a first timer playing for the trophy, and first time I'm winning 3 games, including the final. It's so exciting.
Various players won trophies, among which were Governor's Trophy, MC Tahir, Lamidu, Waziri, among other trophies.
We'll now join Adeni Ajishafe for more sports news.
The 2-day grand finale of 2021-2022 National Scrabble Premier League Championship has ended. The Scrabble Championship took place at Nigerian Army Ordnance Albati Barracks, Rural Lagos, with Airpop Alpha emerging champions in the 12th-team Premier Division. Lekki Bombers finished second, Brainiacs third, while Stalin Bombers finished 12th to drop to the light division. In the light division, Sada Crowns emerged champions and gained promotion to the Premier Division, while Anagrammers came second and Bayelsa Virtuosos third. The overall best team in the Scrabble Premier League Division, Airpop Alpha, got a cash prize of 1.5 million naira. 2015 world champion Jigere Wellington emerged as the most valuable player in the Premier Division, while Victor Osawe won the best player in the light division. Meanwhile, Timi Olaitan, who won the 2nd edition of the Patrons Cup at this is his MGI Scrabble Premier League, said it took extra effort for him to win.
I was a little bit prepared for the game, but I know I have 1 or 2 things done in the past. All I just need to do is just to brush my books in some areas. Then I did that despite my busy schedule. Then I have it in mind that if I'm coming for this event, I will minimize my error, because that is part of what can make you a champion. When you minimize your errors, then you will definitely have a good outcome of every game.
Bikeme Adowe used the medium to appreciate the organizers for the Scrabble Premier League that aims to develop grassroots Scrabble.
They should continue what they are doing, looking for sponsorship, targeting the grassroots development of the sports, and exposing our players to foreign, international competition. So they should keep up the good work, and hopefully Nigerian Scrabble will get to that height that we all crave for.
Organizer of the fourth Scrabble Premier League in the world, Lukman Owolabi, expressed appreciation while calling for support for Scrabble development in Nigeria.
This is the first Scrabble Premier League that you will see anywhere. So, and we thank God for the success of the initiative, and we pray that it continues to grow. And we use this opportunity. Personally, I'm going to use this opportunity to solicit sponsors from corporate organizations, because Scrabble is a fantastic game. You know, it's a fantastic game. You know, has a lot of benefits. You know, to the young ones, the elderly. You know, so it's a game that, you know, sharpens your intellectual capacity.
A total of 40 players participated in the patron score created for players not participating in the grand finale. That's Sport News. I am Adeni Ajishafe.
And that wraps up Trust TV News Hour for tonight. For more news, you can subscribe to watch us live on YouTube and of course follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.